Well, one of the most surprising things is how adaptable people can be when they want to be adaptable, and how quickly we can actually learn to use technology and new channels of communication to keep in touch with each other and to worship together. And in the first lockdown, not everybody was on Zoom. The chapel in Penmaenmawr, there's not a single member on Zoom in Penmaenmawr. They haven't got smartphones, but they've all got a telephone. So we had a telephone conference service on the first or second Sunday of lockdown, and it's lasted ever since. It was a means of keeping people together. It was the only thing they had in their diary for those first 3 months was that 2 o'clock slot on a Sunday afternoon, and it kept people together, it kept people going. I think the fact that they had something that they could look forward to that didn't depend on them phoning somebody or speaking to an individual. It was a coming together of people together, sharing communion and worshipping on the telephone. It's a very bizarre experience. I used to hate, the first experiences of Zoom, I hated it because it was so flat and so disconnected and nothing at all coming back, and never knowing who was hearing what and what bandwidth worked in which home, and that frustration of not knowing whether people were where people were at all. But we've worked our way through that, and we're in a different place now. And oddly enough, now so many people are much more comfortable on Zoom than they are sitting in a cold chapel again. So we're with it for the long term. Well, we're going to have to carry on, aren't we, with this technology and this hybrid sort of mishmash that we've got at the moment. It's very frustrating because technology sometimes works and sometimes doesn't, and it can be very frustrating if the sound isn't working or if there's feedback in the chapel, and it ruins everything on the occasional service. It cuts across things, but it's still, it's still a blessing that we've got it, because people are able to join now from far away. They're able to join if they're crippled and stuck at home and never out of the house at all. We've got members in all sorts of categories who are on the Zoom who couldn't possibly be in chapel. And yes, we've got some people who could be in chapel but who choose to be in their pyjamas on the sofa. Well, that doesn't matter either. It's at least they're part of the service and feel part of the service and still in connection with the church. It does leave the question of what to do with some of the buildings, because some buildings will probably never be used as worship venues again, or might never be used as worship venues again. Like the chapel in Penmaenmawr, I don't think we'll be using that for a worship service again, but it is being used by community groups for different events and things, and it can still be used. It's a very nice, very useful, very good state of repair building that we've got. There's no need to be getting rid of it immediately and selling it and getting the money. If it can be used for community purposes and for the well-being of Penmaenmawr, that's fine. And we need to be far more imaginative in our use of the buildings we've got.